Hello, I'm Frank Luna, and welcome to Making Space, our newest addition to the Latino USA TV and Arizona Barrio Stories family. A program where we bring thoughtful, engaging conversation, stories, and valuable information to the Chicano Latino community from the LGBTQ+ perspective. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome Mr. Erick Tanchez, who is better known among the community as E. E wears many hats. He's an educator, master facilitator, Chicano activist for the LGBTQ+ community. E is here today representing Equality Maricopa, the designated employee group for the LGBTQ+ employees of the Maricopa Community College District. I invite you to join me in making space today for Mr. Tanchez. E, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you being here. Now, before we get into our actual interview questions, why don't we start off with you briefly telling us about yourself. But before we do, I'd like to kick off our conversation by mentioning something interesting I learned about you that gave me insight about what a truly motivated, get-things-done person that you are. When you wanted to re-energize the Maricopa Equality Employee Group, you paid a visit to Dr. Stephen Gonzalez, the Chancellor of the Maricopa Community College District. A man that I happen to know, nice guy, and you told him that you vowed to get the group up and running again.
Yeah.
And you challenged him to support the initiative. You obviously succeeded, and I find that amazing and frankly courageous. So congratulations on getting that done.
Yeah.
And you've been putting a lot of time and effort into that over the years. Tell us about yourself. With the efforts that you've done with that.
Thank you. So my name is Erick Tanchez. I go by E. I grew up in Phoenix, born and raised, fifth generation Phoenician. Just everything I've done through my life has been in Phoenix. I love Phoenix. It's home. I went to high school, North High School in the Phoenix Union District. Soon after high school, I decided to go through the community college route, and I value public education, so Phoenix College was that place for me. Sure. And soon after, continue my education at Arizona State. And so, for me, activism, community work, just being advocates for different communities are my own values and morals that I find for myself. Mm-hmm. And I don't think my parents too through that, but I think my involvement with various community organizations, it might have been during SB 1070 times, when Sheriff Arpaio was around, but ultimately pushing me to really want to advocate for people, one, who look like me, but also two, my other part of the identity that people may not see, which is being queer, Mm-hmm. And, I've had vast conversations with different students, struggling with their identity, and, having gone through that experience itself has really taught me to really just value just all these things,
It's very, very important.
And so, like I said, organizations, in my political campaigns, not only through my professional work, nonprofit sectors, the work that I've done, but really have shown me and introduced me to a lot of people who've also pushed me to grow as well. So not just from my heart that I did this, but people who've challenged me and pushed me too.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, tell us about Equality Maricopa and its role within the Maricopa Community College District.
Yeah.
You've been heavily involved in that, obviously.
Yeah.
And I know, in talking to other Maricopa employees, that you have been a change agent where that organization is concerned.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that.
So Equality Maricopa is an LGBTQIA+ employee affinity group. What we do is we advocate for to remove barriers for people who are within the community, whether an employee or a student. As you know, sometimes that our community struggles and to feel accepted into spaces. And so part of that organization, what we do is just create those spaces for people. What it also does is allow people to grow, you know. Something I've come to know as a professional employee, that sometimes people are afraid to step out and want to grow into those spaces because they might not feel accepted into their workspaces, or don't even know how to ask for help, or they're comfortable because it's more safer to stay where they're at, you know. You know, as someone who works with students on a day-to-day basis, who teaches student leadership, that's no way to live, you know, and also to grow, and especially in an organization that values education, values, you know, different people, you know, at the end of the day. And so that organization itself enacts to be that bridge to the whole district as a whole, but also the people who really need the help.
Now, what as a Chicano employee of Maricopa, when you first got involved with Equality, what was it that prompted you to get involved with the organization?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That was a loaded question too.
Yeah.
The thing that I think about most of kind of what prompted me to be more involved in, you know, my workspace, being an out Chicano employee,
Sure.
You know, living authentically myself and unapologetically too. You know, I would have to say, you know, in 2016, the Pulse nightclub shooting, you know, that just affected, you know, me in a way where I just couldn't come back from it, you know. I think it was the first time in my life where I was definitely in this bubble, you know, of like, yeah, like we had just passed marriage equality, and like there was this time of feeling like it was great, you know, like
Right.
I'm so happy to be this like queer Chicano, but you know, I was out celebrating Pride Weekend in LA, but coming back that Sunday after the night of the massacre, it was just heavy. And I think at that time, you know, I came home from work, you know, no, I was at work, and when I was there, I had a breakdown. And I think that breakdown, what was telling me was, I was questioning my safety, number one, as a Chicano, you know, because I just saw 49 people who look like me just die overnight, you know. But not only that, but it was in a safe space where queer people normally find other people like themselves, you know. It made me question the community I was living in. It made me question the work that I was doing. It made me question my own acceptance. And just it's a long list of things. And I had just this time where like it was hard. Like I couldn't breathe, and I had this breakdown at work. Like it hit so hard. And I think from that moment, I realized that I'm not playing around with people anymore. Like, you know,
really hit home.
It's one thing. I was like, where I come from, a Chicano, like, don't mess with us because we'll fight back. You know, and for me, that's what came out of it. Is like I'm not like I'm gonna meet you halfway with things, but like, if it gets into that territory of like discriminatory and hurtful things, then we're gonna have a conversation about it, you know. And so from there, it prompted me to figure out how to get more involved, you know. So, and I found Equality Maricopa, kind of like soon after that. So that sounds like it's a real life-changing experience for you. Yeah, and I think also too, Equality Maricopa at the time was on the outs with past leadership, you know, and like so it's just something that was sitting there, and I was like, what the heck, like why don't we do anything about this, you know? So
wow, that's amazing. That's a good segue into the next question, which kind of talks about students at Maricopa. If I were an LGBTQ student who's Latino or say African American, or perhaps even moved here from another country, and you being in student services especially, I know that's your expertise, what kind of resources or atmosphere can I expect to encounter today if I were to decide to study at one of the colleges in Maricopa?
Well, the biggest thing, I'm an advocate of community colleges.
I am as well.
And the bigger part of that, we have to be honest with people about going to school, is that, universities are great, you know. They're, you know, when you have legacy students who have families who've gone to universities, like, it's easy for them sometimes.
Sure.
But so we, as a community college, we make it smaller and easier for students to grapple on the idea that we are building community first.
Yeah.
I remember my first time at Arizona State, I saw 50,000 students on my first day of school, and I felt overwhelmed. You know, that's the biggest thing that you can find at a community college.
Yeah.
I feel like we have such great people that work in the district that are accepting, that are welcoming, and the resources plentiful, that regardless of what your status is, what your financial situation is, community colleges are always going to be affordable for students at the end of the day. Not to also too that you also don't have to go to the universities anymore to get a bachelor's degree. Now we're offering them now.
Exactly.
At the community colleges. So we're making education accessible for students. So again, as I said, we were talking about legacy. You know, students who have families who've gone through. This just makes the barriers, you know, less.
Right.
With that.
Right.
But the resources phenomenal. Like, you know, homeless students, if they were like struggling, we have resources of like finding pantries on campus. We have resources of student organizations that whatever identity that there is, there's someone in those organizations to represent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of accessibility, now one of the things that I was excited to hear with Equality Maricopa, you are sponsoring another event, big event, and you made a lot of money last year for LGBTQ scholarships.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Prism Ball, Drag Ball, that's coming up in November.
Yeah.
November 15th, and that's going to be at Phoenix College?
Yes. Yeah.
What can you tell us about that?
So, you know, when you had to mention in the beginning, you know, I hold our administration accountable, you know, for bringing a group. Well, again, this is not all me. Like, this is just work of asking for help. Sure. You know, and I think that is the biggest thing that I've taken away of like how I got here today, you know. But it's a great team that, hey, we need to figure out how we're going to uplift our community. And through that ask through Dr. Gonzalez, I got a great group of people, great people who are ready to do the emotional labor work that it takes to run an organization about identity and, you know, different things, and how do we make things more easier for students. We just got creative and got thought outside the box, but what also does like LGBTQ people love? Sure. Drag queens. So.
But not just any drag queens. This is like, you guys have like a premier event that's happening, and I was able to go to last year's event, and it was a sellout, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah, so in 2021, you know, we posted our first drag ball, which probably brought in about $12,000 that first time. Awesome. The second year that we did it, probably on over like 15, probably 20,000 more. But that's not even also talking about like the grants we got to put on the drag ball too. You know, to do that. Why we did that is because we were developing a scholarship for LGBTQ students, and what we found out was that we had over 99 students who applied to.
That is great.
We could only give 2 scholarships away, and that really kind of put the fire under us to like.
So the need is definitely there.
To really like figure out what we can do through that, and I will say too is not all thinking a step further, like. How are we going to keep funding this new scholarship account? And what we thought of was creating the first LGBTQIA plus license plate for the state of Arizona. There are only 4 states that have LGBTQ license plates, which I don't remember all of them on the top of my head, but Arizona would be the 5th one if we can get it passed.
That's in the works.
Yeah, that's in the works right now.
That's awesome.
But I will say too that was also the challenge too, because it cost $32,000 to start production on the license plate. And that was what we were gonna do, and we did it. You know, that the second time around. You know, for the drag ball, and
that's awesome.
Now we're getting ready to do our 3rd one, and you know, over the last 3 years, we've raised over $56,000.
That's amazing.
For the scholarship account, but also. in addition to create that license plate.
Awesome. Now, for folks that want to attend and support the drag ball, where can they go to get information?
Right, so they can visit our Instagram, which is Equality Maricopa. They can visit our foundation website. I also believe that we have on Eventbrite as well, where they can buy those tickets. You know, but a lot of the things we tell people is to go to our Instagram. That's where you're going to find lots of information on how to get involved, how to donate, you know, how to buy a ticket for the event, and also to figure out more things about the drag ball, what they can expect.
Okay.
So.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of surprises. I know there was last year. It was a great time, and it was a lot of fun. So E, I want to thank you for coming out today and talking to us about yourself, your experience, Maricopa Equalities, and the employees. Again, you're a role model and an inspiration.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. Folks, thank you for joining us today for Making Space and Latino USA TV and Arizona Barrio Stories. Until next time.